How to understand life, if anything, is really understand life locations inside. Try to understand the recognition of you as all position. So really try to get in calculation of who you are from inside, not outside. Outside is not you in any way and form. Everything from inside is provided for you, right? How to intake these connections is extremely important. Drinking something, eating something, right? Drawing through that, seeing this, seeing that, understanding this, understanding that, hearing this, hearing that. It's all levels of voice command. You have to learn how to command your system from inside through all levels of vibration. It puts position locations back in directions, right? It's basically understand these things. And we work as a team, we work in numbers. That's what makes us powerful, right? Because nobody is in this alone. Everybody is all doing this together. And the position of directions is all levels of being successful, right? Understanding where we are, knowing exactly where you want to be, right? To understand the visionary line center is all levels of you of what you want, okay? What you want and what you see are two different things, okay? What you want is position location to the physical line. What you see is the visionary line center to your future line, multipass. Seeing is everything because it's the eyes of the windows of the soul. And that soul opens up position location to your avatar connections. You have to learn how to balance these things out, especially when you're in the waking system, all levels of a unified line center. Okay, let's say you get in a car and you're driving in the physical line center, but position locations, you forgot the avatar, which means you have to really understand how to communicate first. So it's a voice code line system locations. Okay, I'm on sector line position locations going left, or I'm changing right line center locations going right, or an XT1000 platitude division location and a crop circle and 50 yards away. That's all position location in the avatar, not the physical system. The physical system is already merged into one position, right? Together, not separated. Being separated, you're separated from what? Now, there's two line centers. You're split yourself in behind. Position location and calculation. In high center interference, line connections put you in all what? Loss of separation, right? So it's kind of like purging. It's kind of like you don't want to lie to yourself, or that position location line connections. They say, I do not tell a lie, right? So in exactly what is the position of the avatar saying to the physical system, right? And it's very important to understand these things. We understand what we're doing. We understand where we are. We understand where we're going through our visions, not what we want, not what we need. It's all levels of our vision. Vision is everything, and it's all levels up here and at position locations, right? Triangle line center interference, diamond core line position location, template high systems, 1, 2, 3, 4. High interference of flux capacitor. High position location to antennas, high line center. All positions go, calculation, high interference location to calculation. All about understanding the transmitting and the receiving information. So that helps you and always informs right there, right? But that's not enough. How do we understand ourselves more, right? It's not just registering things inside because we all levels know how to travel, but do we know how to travel? Are we traveling through our eyes? Or are we traveling through our heart? Or are we traveling through our mind? 333, 369. See how that works? Travel is everything. You're not drawing. You look like you're drawing, but you're traveling. So if I get a point center interference in position, location, and directions, it's important you guys do your pre-flights. All right. I'm just going to give you guys an example. All right. So as we go into that, basically, we set position, location, and direction. So if I put my finger here and I travel right through it, that's just a line. But it's not a line. It's me traveling through the line. Okay. This goes out to Eric. Okay. Eric is trying to figure out, I don't see, sir. I don't see what's going on. Right. So remember, everything I give you in all level system is a trigger. Triggers are good. The platitude division location of triggers are good. They help you in all ways and forms. They make you break the surface. It's like breaking down walls. Okay. So this is a line, but this is the past. This is the present, and this is the future of its line. past, present, and future. So in position location, this is all connections of times pi. Okay, from here to here. So from here, you're already here. You're already there. And your clocking system is already in calculation, right? So it's important to understand the size graph, interference, position, location, and directions, how long it takes you to get there, because you're already there through its vision. Eyes are always in detection locations. You're scanning everything around you, but it's inside you. So it's all levels of emotion. Your emotional system is in a track line center. If you get a line signal and line cross, and the vibrations are way too high, it's crossing over position location to its fluctuation. That's not good. It's got to be balanced position location and directions to one line signal and cross location, right? It's important you understand these things. You can change the coloration, that's fine. In position direction. Okay. It's a lot more fun when you understand what's going on with you and track information. All levels, its position, location, and directions. Now, channeling line centers gives you a better direction location of time. It position locations and opens all level position. So the line signal could be in this position. Sonar line centers, see it? Tube interference, right? It's no longer a line, is it? So it's all about understanding what you are doing through travel. What you are doing through travel. See? See how it goes thin and then here? See how it changes every single time? Okay. So you got 2 cross line signals and 2 in the middle location. All right. So you just have to really understand how to use the imagination. We all have the imagination. We just don't know how to use it in the mind. And the mind is all levels of vision. When I close my eyes, I see from the other side. You have to get used to these things. You see a tunnel, you see a triangle, you see a position, location, calculation. So you see a tunnel, you see a triangle. Let's start there, right? That's what I see position. And now I see myself traveling through the triangle location. All right. So that's a trinity standing where we put ourselves into levels. We got into that line when it came into line telepathy. How we got into that. I won't get into that much because we have a lot to do today. I already set the code signal locations, all levels, to the sectors, vectors, and position locations to the quads, high centers, interference, directions to interdimensional to the eternity one line center. Code signal location, all levels. Lost vector line centers, vector core communication system. Allocate timelines into all lines into all levels. Ground level system location of cannon. High line center interference, direct locations. Now, when I set the code line center interference in position, you guys are going to be line connections, right? 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, 3 line communications. All right, so you're going to start off as a micro dot line center interference, direct location position. Let's change that line connections. 1 position here, another position here, and another position here. All right, 3 dot line centers. Now, I'm going to change your line center and turn you guys in position location of transformer lines. Okay, because there's a lot of work to do in position location of grounds. New tunnels, new computer interference, and position location directions, right? As soon as I touch my finger, everybody will be high center interference. There you go, position and directions. Now that high channel is this high line center, strips line center, location, position, locations. Now, obviously, the ones that are already in the high ranking line center units is already traveling. They see these things already, and that's the vision. Not what you want to see, you're already seeing. So the more you understand your travel, the more you've already been there. So this is about understanding. The ascension to its unified system is the awakening system of the heart. The heart opens up. You start crying, right? Once you start crying, it opens up more. The flower erection of time changes your tree formation location into higher formation of light. It high communicates its system, position of directions. So once you get into that course line center, it changes all levels of you inside to its mind system. You just have to reach the higher levels of calculations of levels of consciousness. Here, here, and here. All right. So conscious, sub, super. Conscious, sub, super. So position, location, directions, you high force line triangle with communication system. Okay. Now, that's a turn to understanding where you are through triangulation, right? There's a triangulation line there. So it's really putting your position locations, changing line screens, all line center interference, conscious line center location, right? So that conscious line center changes all levels. Right? You go from here to here to here to here to here to here, okay? See the row graph line stream interference? Particle stream interference changes line screens. So you have an inhibitor at the back line center of the neckline that centers its position up, center line to the system to your antennas, to your position of your figure 8 line center. Position of direction, it's at the very top. See the 8? So the 8 center line center positions its center line rotation to its calculations, right? See how it's center location? So what happens is the conscious line changes all levels. I wanted to show you how powerful it is to get in your conscious to understand position, location, and directions where your conscious is too much thinking. The subconscious is getting out of the thinking and coming into the knowing. And the super of its consciousness stays above the system to its location. You're no longer here. You're in the subconscious. Then you become line center location at all levels superhuman. The position of direction opens all calculation streams. Now, that high rise into its line connection into your diamond core line center interference. Okay? See the intelligence? Now, try to remember, when you are drawing something, you are traveling. Okay? After class, in position of directions, all levels, we have a Zoom set up for 12 p.m. All right? For people that can't see, don't understand, want to know what's going on. What is this all about? What's this all about? What's SACETIMECREATOR? How do I understand more? Okay, there's a link below. Click that. We'll take you right there. So on that note, you have to truly understand that you are a point location, all levels of what's going on in you inside position. 3.4 centers, cross signal location, right? Now, once you understand your position locations, your conscious line, okay, starts line of interference of developing its maneuvering skills, the maneuvering line center rotation interference. So the management becomes its own development over time. The conscious line center takes it out of its equation and puts it into the subtronic line. That's the sublevel. Okay, so that's the water intake. The water intake, the fluctuation, the plasmesium line center channel puts positions in all levels of higher levels of direction. You get out of the conscious and you come into the sub. That's the subtronic line center interference. Now, once you get into that calculation, you come into higher level, which is the super of its consciousness. Okay? Subtronial line center location is Tron. So in that position location, you come into more of a computer adaptation line screen. And that opens all levels of position location to your metric communication system. Graph line center stream interference location calculation, right? So Raman connects high channel line streams in positional coloration. Each box center has an open sequence, open pattern, open fragmentation line connections, size graph interference to its all position, okay? 3 line communications, right? So once you understand that, your diamond core becomes less resistant and more powerful in travel position. Your line screens is all levels of 7. Now that's a core line center, all levels to its position. And then you have the 5 atmospheres. That's 12 line DNA, right? So as long as you stay above the system of the subtronic line center, you'll be totally fine. But if you surface in a lower position location, you're going to have problems with communication. Okay? So it's important to understand, stay above the system. You have to be in the subtronic line. You got to get out of the consciousness and be into the subtronic line. Okay? So once you get into that, you come into the super of the conscious line. The super of its conscious line, this is where you come into higher levels of telepathy. It's like, hey, I know what you just said before you're going to say it. Precog. So the precog opens up position location on lines, because remember, your chakra system is nothing but a coloration of space and time. How to use it is information. So when you get in that calculation, I'm going to take this out of equation line. I'll show you. All right, so setting new signals in direction. Okay, it's really understand how to basically kind of like airbrush line stream and position location calculation, waving system line centers. Okay, so it develops over time in position, location, and directions. It's like here I'm changing different pens, a different coloration. Okay, so let's just say the conscious line center is a low gravity location, right? Low equals gravity. Okay, low equals gravity. But the conscious line center doesn't want to understand position, location, directions. So it's trying to move up to position into the subtronic, right? The sub equals tron, okay? Once it comes into the tronic line center interference, it changes the magnetic field line center position, location, and directions to all levels of your brain scans. Brain scan line center interference position all levels of its system. Once you go to higher level system, you come into the super of its consciousness. And this is where you have to stay in high signal location of mind telepathy, high system, right? So if you're in a low grand center, low gravity location of gravitational pull, you're always going to find a way to not surface. You're going to look at problems. They're going to become your problems because you're traveling position. If you're traveling 5,000 line screens, right, of capacity, and you go back down into your conscious line, a lot of trouble. Not only that, you're going to shift position, location, of direction and create a black hole of surface line communication. You don't want to do that because what that does is it changes the cyclone line center interference and creates its own position and direction. See? Creates its own E-field line center. Uh-oh, now I'm creating a whole position location of a planet on the other side line connection, blocking. So remember, you can create something on the conscious line, but if you're in a 5,000 track interference location of window, whoa, look out. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing through the physical line center because it's going to have full reaction of communication. And if you understand the communication, then you understand the importance is to stay in the subtronic line. Stay out of the low gravity of the conscious line. Okay. Consciousness is a formation of view, how you recognize. If I place my finger in position of the center line and I touch it right away, I feel it right away. It's like a wave. You can just sit a wave. I'm sitting waves. It's like so it's kind of like picking up speed, right? So basically, the connections of the conscious line is connected to the subtronic line, which is connected to the superconscious line, which is connected above the system. Anything above, you come into the computer line, right? So your track system is your 12 DNA. Now, if you understand the coloration path, you have no more problems with your transmitting and receiving information. But if you stay below the system of gravity line center of your conscious line system, you're going to have huge problems in getting back into thinking of old programs of space and time. Okay. So where we at position locations, let's wish Lindsay a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lindsay. Happy birthday to you. All right, many, many more. So celebration all around. Happy birthday. All right, so in that calculation, it's to understand the formation line system. Now, it's not knowing exactly what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Remember I said position location, so levels. Now, if you're in a Y line center, okay, position location equals flux capacitor, but the flux capacitor comes back into Y line center, what's the confusion? Y equals lines of flux capacitor equals Y, which means you come down into your conscious line, back in communication and confusion, right? So it's interesting to look at these things, and it's not position of this. Get that out of your mind. That's not it. It's this, not this. Code signal location is Y line center. Y comes all levels of vector communication. Vector comes all cross signals into flux capacitor. Now, if you're in flux capacitor high center location, you circle line center interference, then you can travel location. But if you don't travel location, you stay in the Y line center, back in position, back into your conscious line of the gravity line in position location, right? That's where you get confusion. to flux capacitor. So it's important you understand when you are traveling. Okay, get out of the drawing. You're traveling through the mind of the heart and the body. But the body, see, the thing is that you think you're a body, but you're just in a body, which is just a costume. So try to understand that the avatar is this position location of its host. It needs a host. So it's the inner line center, which is the outer center position location of the outer shell. And another thing you guys have to understand, position location directions. Full communication to all levels system. You have a force field that's inside of you, in position of direction that protects you. And you have an E field that's around you that protects you. Okay? You have to understand these things. Force field inside, E field outside. E field position location protects you from all levels. You become the line center location of a tube. That tube line center becomes its paraline position location, all levels of your delineation location of its travel. So in position of direction, it's mostly understanding these things, right? So how important is it to understand to stay out of your conscious lines? Let's say you're at 10,000 line communication. 10,000 line communication. Now you're in flux capacitor. You're doing well. You're traveling through an eco box. All right, so you travel through an eco box, coming into an antenna line center interference, ground line center interference, position location directions. Okay, now you got a stand line center, 3-line interference location of travel. So in position location, oh wow, I got confused. All right, so now you're going to go back to Y. That Y is going to change position of its grounds, of its circle, rotation system, offline position location, back into the conscious system location, right? Back in the conscious of what you just finished doing, right? Which is a no-no. So the box line center and the T reception that you set up in 10,000 line of echolocation to its capacity has changed position because you decided to get confused. And then you get into thinking, right? And then you get out of knowing and doing, right? So as long as you stay above the system, you're fine. You have to stay in the subtronic line center. If you stay in that position locations, you're totally fine. But if you decide to change your line screens or anything through your graph, your meditation, or anything through your simulation lines openings, you're going to have a huge problem over time. All right? So that's what you have to understand. You have to get out of the Y and get into the flux capacitor. Because it comes in position location to its planet line center, which we already know through calculations, right? You got the circle line center. This is it. This is the flux capacitor. Peace treaty, right? Two position location line connections. So this is how it works in high center line interference. Conscious, sub, position, all levels. Comes into higher level system of superconscious. Conscious, okay, sub, and super position. The super perception, you come into superline perception location of ESP, external sensory perception. High signals its line screen location, and then you see it through laser direct location. So when you're scanning things right at the center position of everything. Because when I look around, I see everything of center, because I'm center. If I'm center, everything's center. But if I'm off center, my thoughts are off center. That means I'm no longer in position, but I'm all back in the conscious system, out of the subtronic, and forget about the levels of the computer line center of the super of its consciousness. You got to stay above the system times pi. Right? Understand what this is in all calculation. You understand how powerful you are and what you can do, and as long as you stay out of the conscious line, you'll be totally fine. That rhymes. So it's important you understand these things, right? I just wanted to show you what you guys are up against every time you get up in the morning, right? Stay in the subtronic line and you'll be fine. Anything below that, if you're in a capacity of over 10,000, whoa, look out. Because the registration line, the position of the brain, understand the concept. It's the hardware and the software. of its application to its avatar system. Because you guys have to stand your mainframes and you're coming into your bandwidths, right? And once you understand your bandwidth and you understand your capacities, position locations will find you all levels of a calculation. Hold on a second. So I really want you guys to understand the importance of hair. My hair is always traveling and it always has it in a statement, but it knows exactly what it's doing when I'm traveling, right? It knows what it's doing. It's already in balance. It's already in balance. Whatever I do, it's always in a position location of travel, right? So you just truly understand that what you want is you want a continuous force, right? So it's a waving system to a position, location, and calculation, all levels of hair. Hair has a way of seeing you through its vision. So that's what it is. It's not what you are. It's not who you are in that position locations. Until you understand that, it's all levels. It's staying out of the conscious line. So we use everything in all position, location, and calculation when it comes into that, because we live this every single day. And that's the important thing you guys have to understand. You are living your conscious line of your subtronic line interference to your super consciousness. So understanding the waving system of what consciousness is, right? It's all levels of you inside. It's how you determine these things. That's the only way you're going to understand your system and all systemal communication of yourself. The substance of you is all levels of you. The track interference is all levels of you. The balance of system location is all levels of you. How you do this is all connections of you, right? Not anybody else, just you and you only, right? This helps you and always informs when you wake up to these things and say, yeah, you don't say, I'm going to be in my subtronic line. It doesn't work that way. Okay. It's a flow. It's a continuous flow. So it's like in position locations, when I was finding my conscious line and trying to figure these things out, I couldn't because I couldn't understand the level. I couldn't understand the alpha, the delta, the theta, the beta, or the omega communication. So it's the avatar understanding all levels of the grounds and how to use the powers inside through its atmospheric location of space and time. Once you understand that position, this gives you a better understanding. The importance, how to use it through its determination, is all levels of your thoughts, of manifestation, of creation. You are co-creating your realities. And these are realities that are coming to you through vision. Okay? Which is amazing. Coming into that will help you out in all ways and forms. All right? So I'm going to take you guys out. Ground, center, interference, position, location, directions, all levels. Last line, center line, position, locations, positions, all connections. Put positions back in track, center, interference. Bring it back in the ground, perception, line, connection, on line, system, location, position of team. Team, center, line, center. Bring you back down, all levels. Transformation, location, to all system. Here we go with the calculation. All right, so you guys are back at your normal size as your position locations into your Earth perception. So it's amazing how we transform our system, how we mutate, how we morph, how we calculate, how we vortex to all level system location. It's the physical system that has to understand the mind capacity of where it is in all levels of space. So it's the space that you are basically calculating through what you are creating inside, all right? And the time, the existence of the time is all levels of you, right? So once you understand that, this gives you a better adaptation. This is going to help you in all ways and forms how you calculate and modify all levels of you inside. This puts you in a better direction of where you need to be with your future of your visionary lines of cortex communication, right? So how's everybody feel so far? It's pretty powerful stuff when you come into all levels, when you are at that level. Everybody is in a different way and form. Everybody is in a different calculation. Everybody is in a different pattern. Everybody's in a different coloration. And that's what makes you unique. You're all unique. You're all special and always informed. Understanding all levels is why is the how you adapt to your system of understanding. Okay, it's not a concept that's saying, like I said before, that I'm going to wake up to my super of its consciousness. That doesn't make any sense. That's not travel. You're debating, you're doubting, you're not sure what's going on. So it's a continuous flow, and these things take time. So it's kind of like merging yourself from travel, and you're trying to recognize what you're doing through communication of yourself. Because all it is the avatar wants to understand you, which is all levels of you, 2 into 1 position, right? Not 3, 1. Okay. Now it's interesting that you look at these things, and the reason why I give you guys travel is so you are traveling through shapes, letters, numbers, and symbols. Okay, and it's going through the perceptions of the eye circle location of the galaxy universal line connections of its avatar. Eyes are the windows of the soul. That's how you reach everybody else. That's how you find out where they are in their auras. Okay, where they are in their chi of force. We all have force within. Okay, now's the time to let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it breathe. Really get into that. Let it flow. It has to have a continuous flow, right? It's got to flow in the same direction. If you got a hand position offline signal, and this position is going here, and this is the Fibonacci sequence, put your hands in off center location, off rotation, interference line conditions. Why is this going forward and why is this going back? You got to find position locations because you're confused through the conscious line. You went back in that line system. That's the only way you change a clock. Okay? So your adaptation of your mainframe is all levels of wire interference, disposition line connections, deposit high center. So truly understand how it modifies all levels. Think of the brain as travel. Think of the brain as a graph. Think of the brain as intelligence. Think of the brain as space. Think of the brain as time, because everything inside you is space and time of travel. All right. So you're just traveling through shapes. Try to understand the shape, its geometry. Try to understand the structure of its shape. Try to understand the foundation of this shape. Try to understand the triangulation of the shape. E equals MC square, line center, interference location of calculations, mass, volume, high center, capacity, high position location calculation, triangulation. Right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it through vibration. Vibration, that's all it is. Energy, vibration, frequencies, harmonics is everything inside of you. You have to learn how to coordinate it and keep it in a subtronic line so you can understand the super of its consciousness, right? Because the mainframe has to truly understand you through adaptation, or you're going to get confused through your anomalies of space or your own calculations, creating something else that you don't want through its clocking, right? So it's important you understand these things, right? Because you're looking at the hardware of the brain, and you're looking at the software of the mind, and you're looking at the app of the avatar, putting three-line center location, position locations, heart, mind, and soul. So you have to find a way to use the objective, find a way to use the connections of its collective. Your collective is catching data, like I said. It's like, okay, I got this, I'm going to plant this, I'm going to plant that. That's good. I'm going to take that out. I don't need it. Position, location, directions, put it offline center. So it's like a computer. You store it or you don't store it. You need it or you don't need it. You use it when you need it. So it's true to understand when you come into that, guys. It's all levels of you how to use your computer lines, right? But you really have to stay above your system, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to find a way to confuse your anomalies of your own space that you're trying to co-create for yourself through future location to its manifestation. All right? So yeah, I know everybody's distracted. There's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot to be discussed. All right, the travel's a little bit, there's a lot of things that you have to understand because, turning it from a transformer DNA back into position location just does a little wobble, and that, what just happened to me? Why do I feel like 7 feet tall? So that's understanding how you do these things, and it's all through the mind, right? The mind and the conception of where it needs to be. All levels of space and time, right? It's the balance of everything inside of you, which creates its anomaly. Okay. So, all right. So I think that's good. Practice makes perfect in all level system locations, but really try to stay in the higher levels of your position, right? Stay out of the conscious line, right? Because that's a location of 3 dimension, which doesn't exist. You can't ride on this system anymore. It's got to be above the system. Okay, so from here to here is times pi through equation, right? So look at it that way. You bring it out, triangle right there. 2 pieces of pi on line center interference. Okay, stay in the subtronic line center, which is the ear. Okay, give you guys a multipath. The subtronic line is your ear. This here is your conscious. Start at the ground line center. Flux capacitor here, flux capacitor here. Diamond core line position location and calculation. Templates here and here in position locations. Line screens, crossing signals. Shapes anomalies here and here and here, here and here and here. So it's true to understand how you all calculate and modify through its geometry interference. True to understand you through calculation is all levels, how you use your operation inside position. But it's all levels of vibration and frequencies, right? So you have to form the energies, knowing exactly what you're doing. We'll get more into that, right? So in that position locations, again, happy birthday, Lindsay. Hope you have a great day. Anybody is welcome to join in the higher units for 12, okay, which is just a half an hour, gives you guys to recuperate, drink your waters. Basically, so it's mostly for the activations and the divergence. These are the ones that are in the lower units that are trying to understand the concept of everything through connections to your imaginations. All All right. You guys have a wonderful day. Adios.